It's great to have this mutual respect and understanding between, say, an American band or a European band or a South American band and an Indian band. And it's an incredible feeling. That helps a lot.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would the two of you mind introducing yourselves?
Hi, I'm Gurdip. I play bass for Gutslit.
And hello everyone, this is Aditya and I do vocals for Gutslit.
And Gurdip and Aditya, how would you describe the music of Gutslit?
So we would like to call ourselves a brutal death grind band. And so it is basically brutal death metal music with some grindy elements.
And as far as the brutal death side goes, would you say that you skew to one era or maybe one geographical location? Like, do you take inspiration from any particular bands?
Well, over the years, yes, we have drawn inspirations from certain bands, but as it is, like, we have evolved over the years ourselves as well. So I wouldn't say that it was a particular area as such, but it was being in India and, getting exposure to all those bands from all around the world. It really did help us to get a lot of inspirations around, but I wouldn't say that it was a specific area.
And as you mentioned, Gutslit is based in India, which I hope we can speak about in some detail. But before we get to that, can you guys tell me a little bit about the history of Gutslit and what the intentions were when you formed?
So the band was formed in 2007. I was one of the founding members of the band. And the whole idea of the band was to play the music that we love the most. That's brutal death metal and death grind. And there was a lot of influence of slam coming in at that moment also, and it was just picking up. So the earlier music, if you see, it has a lot of influence of the old school death metal meets death metal, brutal death metal scene, which later transformed into an edition of slam also. We started off with bands like Animal Corpse and Death, as our main inspirations. And taking it from there, there were a few more bands that specifically stuck to us, especially like the band Dying Fetus, Aborted, and Cattle Decapitation, Cephalic Carnage. So being there in the scene and seeing all these bands grow up, the only thing that we wanted to do was form a band and play with all these bands out there. Luckily enough, we had a good moment of having a EP with a French gore grind band called Misery Fibrosis early in the days. And as we released the album, we also got our first European tour. And then on, it was just a journey that's been quite a roller coaster ride of meeting and seeing and sharing music with multiple bands all over the world.
So, as listeners are probably aware, I'm based in Malaysia in Southeast Asia, and India is not particularly close to Malaysia, but a lot closer to to Malaysia than most of the bands I speak with, and so growing up in the region, I'm familiar with the way metal developed in this part of the world, and there are usually a lot of struggles associated with having a band, especially a death metal band, especially a brutal death metal band in this region. Can you tell me a little bit about what the scene was like in India, in Bombay, when you guys formed in 2007?
When the band was formed in 2007, the scenario was quite different then. There weren't any dedicated venues as such which would appreciate or which would let a metal band play. It was usually like clubs or any amphitheaters or any halls that we would get to rent out and get things going. Even the sound vendors wouldn't know how to program or how to work things around a metal band. So we literally started with nothing back then, but they definitely were bands who were trying their best to like make it big in the scene. What usually helped people that time were college competitions, and it might sound very weird to people but abroad, but we actually had colleges in India who were supporting the metal music quite a lot, and the students and the bodies would actually have band competitions happening. That gave everybody a big opportunity to get out there and like experience the whole feel of what metal is, and also hear different kind of bands and music out there. That helped a lot in the scene back then. From there to now, we have multiple venues in multiple cities, which are pro at hosting bands day in and day out. We have dedicated venues for metal also, and there are programmers and engineers who all have been descending down from either being in a band themselves or who are formally getting educated in music. We have multiple universities in India which are giving out certificates and degrees in music in general. Music always was a big part of India, and metal has been accepted quite well by everybody. And Indian music is just traveling. Indian metal music, especially, is just traveling all over.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues with bands in Asia and bands in this part of the world was pre-internet. Even if we had scenes, even if we had bands, as you mentioned, there were a few venues to play. There were also not that many local record labels that were releasing music from our part of the world. I mean, we had a few, in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, we had a few tape labels, and sometimes distros from Europe and the UK and Australia and the US would carry bands from our scene, and sometimes, but it was hard pre-internet getting the word out about this stuff. Did you see a big change once things like SoundCloud, Bandcamp, social media sites like Facebook and Instagram, did you see a big change in awareness of what was happening in your local scene once you gained access to all these platforms?
Yes, definitely we did. In fact, Aditya here has even worked with one of the biggest labels from India. I would let him answer this question.
So yeah, basically there have been, so we I used to work for this label called as Transcending of Studio Records, which probably is one of the biggest underground.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I've done the PR for them for 3 years, and yeah, so having a label who helped us around was actually a big deal. But back in the day, I would say there weren't much to get the attention. So I would definitely say that social media and all these platforms have definitely helped us grow a bit more, and it has definitely made us reach places that we had not thought of.
So basically, here's as he mentioned, Transcending Obscurity. He's been a part of Transcending Obscurity also. He's been working for them. And Kunal, being a very good friend, has even been a label partner for Gutslit for one of the albums. and he's helped us reach quite like great heights out there. As for your specific question about how we've seen the change, yes, we have seen the change right from MySpace to Bandcamp, like everything in between, be it Awkward, be it the groups and communities there, and like to reaching out to the dark web chats and having radio zines that time, which even exists. So like we were always there, quite active in the culture, where we've met so many people from all over America, South America, and Europe, especially, who've been very supportive of a band from India playing the genre. So this has been quite a journey for us because internet has actually helped us reach everywhere. Like our first international show was in 2009 when we played Thailand. So it was in 2009 when we played Thailand, and that itself was because of the internet, because of how we were able to reach out there and see everything.
That's great. And I definitely want to spend more time speaking about the Indian scene and the way it's developed over the years and the changes that you've noticed in particular. And getting back to Gutslit's music, you spoke about when you formed, you were influenced by these bands like Cannibal Corpse and Dying Fetus, and your style developed from there. When were you happy? When did you find that you were happy with the sound that you were performing?
When we got to tour with the same bands that we loved, we've toured with almost everyone. We've played with all the bands that I've mentioned and all the bands that I've been a fanboy about. So it's been a great journey. There are still bands on the list that I want to play with, but it has been a great journey, and it has been amazing to be where we are right now, where we shared stage and in fact been on private tours with all these bands. So then it's amazing. They've seen us play, they've seen how we have what we play rather, and they've been our fans. So then it's great. It's great to have this mutual respect and understanding between, say, an American band or a European band or a South American band and an Indian band. And it's an incredible feeling. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly one of my favorite parts about covering this kind of music is a couple weeks ago I was speaking to a band from Norway, and then I did a Q&A with a band from Brazil, and now I'm speaking to a band from India, and I'm based in Malaysia, and of course there are language barriers and there's certain cultural barriers, but I think when you put two guys in death metal shirts together, they have an understanding, they have a cultural understanding that transcends all those borders. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, this I absolutely agree with. I mean, this is the one point that I actually tell people whenever they ask me how do you connect with people in Europe. When you make two people wear a death metal t-shirt, trust me, you don't need a common language. It just works, and it's like you don't have to even go and ask. Like, do you know that? Like, name three songs from the band you're playing. It just happens. So it's beautiful that how the cultures are together when it comes to metal music. And I've played shows in Europe where I don't even know the name of a person I've been chilling with since the last 2 hours or so. But he's there at my show. He's loving my music, and I love his band. And it's so difficult to even communicate because he's not that good at English. And luckily for us, we are well versed with this language, so they find it quite strange that we can speak faster than them in their own language. So it's amazing. So it's a great feeling. But yeah, the barrier, I've never felt any barrier between between anybody as such, or any two metalheads as such.
I mean, all you need to do to communicate with another metalhead is two fingers, right? The first one and the last one.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Just horns up and you're on.
How do you guys usually write songs?
The writing process is quite simple actually. We are a jam room band, I would say, at writing music. We meet up, we sit down, we write stuff. Most of the times we have the riffs coming in from the guitarist side, or input coming in from the drummer's side, or something where where we would meet up and we would just hear stuff out and give our opinions about how we want a track to be like or what we want to write about. Once the basic guitars and drums are set, then we go to the next step of getting the vocal structures in and getting the lyrics in. And many a times what happens is we have the lyrics changing the structures or structures molding the lyrics in a certain way. Themes come in quite actively in Gutslit. We believe a lot in themes. That is what theme we are writing a song about. So the lyrical pattern always revolves around a lot of content. There is no ambiguous matter as such. There's a lot of concise and thought about content and flow of songs, how and what the storytelling is going to be about. Most of the times it's about serial killers or devices used for mass murder. But whatever is there, we've stuck to a lot of non-fiction as of now, where things have which have been really been there out there. There is a little inclination of fiction, maybe that might happen in the next album, but as of now, we've been always been about the reality of human existence and how people have been all over.
And who comes up with the themes?
Themes of lyrical structure, you mean?
Yeah, the themes for the songs.
Themes of the song. Themes of the song. It's a mixed effort. Our earlier guitarist, he was one of the major contributors for song names as such, and that revolved the themes. And then I wrote down the lyrics for the same. Second album, Amphitheater, the themes were the central theme was decided. I don't even remember who did it, whether it was I think me or the drummer, Aaron Pinto. We majorly decided on using torture devices, and it evolved from there. The third is specifically decided by Aaron. He wanted serial killers in there, and we did a whole tribute for serial killers. And we obviously all of us having a big inclination towards all these series that we keep on watching of these mass murderers and super smart serial killers. It's rather an ode or a tribute to them because they've been meticulous at planning all these things and how they've gone through the whole psyche behind it. So it's amazing. So yeah, it's more or less the joint effort of the whole band.
So let's talk about this latest album. The third Gutslit album is called Carnal, and it will be self-released on the 7th of July of this year, 2023. When did you guys start working on this album?
Oh, that's almost half a decade ago. It's been quite a long journey for this specific album because everybody knows how COVID has affected things. Sadly for us, we had a major lineup change also in the middle of the whole process. And even after we had the album written, we had a vocalist change. I mean, Aditya was there in the band earlier. He had left in the middle, and then he came back, and we had the guitars done. We had to the replacement guitarists were filled in. he ended up writing the lyrics for the songs and the vocal structures. So there's a big contribution from him. Then he left, and then we got a producer on board for not sorry, not a producer, but we got Mark Lewis on board for mixing and mastering. So the whole process took a lot of time because his schedule was also quite tight, and he had to delay the project also here and there and fix a proper time to do this. But trust me, the patience and the whole weight game paid off. The album is super heavy and it's super fun, and it's exactly how we wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
So in short, the album took half a decade, but it's worth the wait.
And how would you compare Carnal to the first two albums?
Adi, you want to answer this one?
I would actually say that it's a mixture of both, and it is actually the evolved version of both those albums put together. And plus, it has also has elements of this. Actually, Mark Lewis has done an amazing job on this, and it has kind of given a proper. He envisioned it perfectly as we wanted to, and he just made it sound so perfect. So I would say that it's like a perfect mixture of both the previous albums, so Skewered and the Sewer and Amphitheater.
So, Adi, when you say a more evolved version, musically, how would you say you guys have evolved over the years?
I would say the songwriting, the way we kind of put our thoughts together, and the way we have put all these parts in those songs together, it has been very different, and it has been kind of like the thing that we had envisioned, and it was like all these years we've been wanting to do that, but this album made us feel like, oh yes, this sounds good. This is how we wanted to sound over the years, and it came out extremely nice.
So basically, I'll just add to it. We are evolving with time, to be very specific. 2007, when the band was formed, the available options of making it sound in a certain way and the music that was appreciated by people, then moving on to the next album and taking it from then to here. We've evolved with time in terms of we've gone up with the production level, we've gone up with live drums, we've gone pro getting a proper mixing and mastering engineer on board and giving an outside perspective and a different ear to the band who can mix and master and give his own touch to it. So it's basically like how bands evolve in general. Overall, if you see any of the big bands also, like be it Cannibal Corpse, Napalm Death, Dying Fetus, Aborted, Meshuggah, any band, there's that you need to grow with the technology, you need to grow with time, you need to grow with the sound, and you have more accessible options to better in simple terms, you have like better systems now, better speakers, better headphones to listen to music. So why not give them an experience of a lifetime?
It sounds like evolution is important for you guys.
Yes, evolution. Yes, evolution is quite important.
I mean, it's a somewhat controversial idea. I mean, on one hand, you could say evolution. On the other hand, you know, people might also say, progressive. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's a double-sided sword, to be very honest. What you're saying is absolutely right. We have definitely lost a few fans here and there because they've not been happy about how the band has progressed. But sticking to the genre and sticking to what you would want to play is also very important. I would say, you cannot stick to a certain style forever and not grow with your music because music is something that you have to grow with. And it's something that you need to explore more and release more. And that is how it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the serial killer themes on this album. Do you want to mention some of the serial killers who you write about?
Adi, you want to take this or you want me to answer?
You are the man behind this whole theme, bro. So I think it will be only fair that you answer
So,
this.
so, so basically, all of the songs are inspired by the serial killers, that have been there on the album. I'll keep a few things behind the curtains as of now, but we've picked out a few of our favorites. Majorly, there have been a lot of documentaries out there of all of them. So I can give you a gist of like a clue, basically. Like if you've seen Mindhunters on Netflix, or if you've seen any of those documentaries on all these people who've been there making America great, how it is, and so basically the whole idea is to work the psyche more than what who the serial killer is, the psyche that they've gone behind it and the way they have processed the whole mass murder or whole the process of getting to the point where they've lost or found themselves and done all these acts and still are quite proud about the way they've done it. So it's more of that.
And you had a guest vocalist on this album.
So yeah, so we have Julian from Benighted who is doing guest vocals on one of the songs called Bind Torture Kill. So yeah, he's a very good friend of the band, and we've played with Benighted multiple times. In fact, we've toured India with them, and we've shared stage in Europe multiple times. And he's a very good friend. And we pitched the idea to him to pick one of his favorite songs from the new album, and he liked this one, and he wanted to work on this, and we let him do his magic and work around the song. So the theme was given by us, the storyline that the killer was given by us, but then he wrote the whole thing up. So it was quite fun.
You mentioned Mark Lewis mixed and mastered the album, but your guitarist Prateek engineered the album. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, in addition to being the guitarist for Gutslit, Prateek is also a music producer who's worked on a little TV show called The Book of Boba Fett and another little TV show called The Mandalorian and a movie called Creed 3. So he seems to be quite in demand for his skills.
Yeah, so he is actually quite an amazing producer. Back to him, the credits go back to him, and he's been quite at it by at this job, and he's done a brilliant job back at this of writing music and being part of Gutslit. So that's there. That's and yeah, the boy is talented. The boy is finding his true calling. He's in Hollywood right now, and he's killing it, and he's making a big name for himself, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's great. It's rare that I speak to a band who has credits on both Encyclopedia Metallum and IMDb.
Yeah, we like to be famous.
Does Prateek have his own studio? Or did you guys work remotely? Did you record remotely?
No, so that's as I said, like the recording. What was happening was we had at that time Prateek was in India. We were just finishing up our European tour, and we had everything lined up for finishing off the guitars at least before he leaves. We finished up the drums. We finished up the guitars before he left. He made sure that he got things the way he wanted them to be done. We hired studio in Bombay itself, Mumbai, where we stay, and we got those things lined up. Vocals were done remotely. They were done later, much later, and that also was ultimately supervised and engineered by him remotely.
As we mentioned, Mark Lewis mixed and mastered the album. Have you worked with Mark before?
No, so here I would give credits to Pratik again. Mark Lewis was his find, and he wanted to work with him. So it's like in the band, we always work in a way where people just come to me, and I'm the Santa Claus of the band, and they write me a wish. Listen, I want to do this. I want to work with this person, or I want to collab with this person, or I want this happening. And then I just like maybe like Santa Claus or maybe like a magic wand. I just do a poof, and yeah, we have it. So be it any label, be it any artwork deal, or be it any tour, or be it all these engineers and artists we work collab with. So they just come with wishes, and then I have to make sure that it happens. So yeah, Mark Lewis was his find. Pratik wanted to do an album with him, and he was quite confident and certain. And I really have to give it to him. Like he got the best person out there for us. Did cost me a lot. I mean, I'm still covering up for it, but yeah, it was worth the effort and the money put in.
I mean, his credits are extensive. Mark Lewis has worked with everyone from Deicide to Arsis. Anybody who heard the Christian interview from last year probably heard his name come up in that one as well. You mentioned that Mark Lewis was Pratik's request, but was there anything in particular about Mark Lewis or anything in his discography that made you guys want to work with him?
For me, I mean, I've been seeing his work since years, and everything what he does is actually magic. I mean, it's like whatever he touches is amazing. And I've seen him also, grow over the period of time and come up with even better records. But nothing in particular as such. I mean, there's no one album I would say, which I have heard, and I've felt oh yeah, this is different from the other, but then it's amazing. It's always been better.
For me, if I would answer that, for me it was the Whitechapel records that he did, and also the Black Dahlia murder. So whatever he touched was, turning out to be gold, and it was the right choice that Pratik made, I felt, for this album. And he just actually has, created magic with this album.
I mean, people will hear some of the songs on this podcast, but the production is amazing. I mean, it's so sleek and it's so sharp, but also so heavy. I think he did an amazing job. We spoke about the evolution of the band and how it's important for you guys to evolve. What would you say Mark Lewis brought to your sound, and how would you say he aided with your evolution?
He got the production that we wanted. He is making us sound heavy, big, and loud. The best part is it's loud. We needed that missing factor where you are writing such good music and it's not out there because it's just not packaged enough properly. And it's like he's done physically, metaphorically speaking, it's like you have the best product out there, but then it's wrapped in like a dingy cloth, or it's wrapped in a good wrapping paper. That matters a lot. So the crispiness of a good wrapping paper is what we needed, and I think so we have it.
So at the time we're having this conversation, you guys are embarked on a tour of India. And by the time the podcast comes out, you guys will have finished playing the Obscene Extreme Festival.
Yes, absolutely right.
Let's start with the Indian tour. How's it going?
Tiring. I haven't slept properly since I think it's about 2-3 weeks. I mean, I work on these tours personally myself, and every time I plan a tour, I don't think about sleep. I mean, that's the worst thing that I do. That's the only thing wrong I think I do on tours is I forget that sleeping is important. As we speak, I am fearing the day after's flight. It's at 12 o'clock in the night. It's a 2-hour flight to a city in India where I know I have to reach at 2:30, reach wherever we are staying, get up for my sound check, play the show, and catch a 6 o'clock morning flight back again. So, yay, 24 hours or 48 hours without sleep again.
But it has been worth it. It has been worth every second of it, actually. It has been a different experience altogether.
I mean, how often do you guys get to tour India?
Oh, given an option, I would do it every day. But we do manage, but honestly speaking, there has been not been a single year, even in COVID, where we've not played a show. So we've been at it since the last 15 years, and we try to keep it in a way where we have at least one European run in a year, because there's a lot of paperwork involved where for Indians to get out and do this. So 1 year of one European run and maybe a couple of Indian runs we do. So it's quite a hectic schedule. I keep the boys at it and I keep them running for this. So it's fun. We the same way we did Asia and we did like we pop in something or the other and we just try to do maybe say Dubai once in a while or we do Asia. We like just try to mix and match things.
Yeah. And what are you looking forward to most at Obscene?
Food,
Food?
alcohol,
Yeah.
other bands. No, what we look at Obscene is meeting a family again. I mean, those are the people who made us what we are. To be very honest, Obscene was the first festival we played way back in 2007. No, 7, no, 14. 14, 7, 14, sorry. Yeah, so that was the first time we played Obscene. And since then, the band has been on a very good trajectory and we've just grown from there. So for us, Obscene and the promoter Chubby, they're like family. So it's like going back home.
That's great. Actually, who's on the lineup this year?
Well, there is Vader, there is Holy Moses, there are bunch of heavy acts, there is Massacre. I mean, I have only dreamt of watching these bands sometimes, let alone sharing a stage with them. So this year it's a massive freaking lineup.
That's amazing. So, by the time people hear this podcast, Carnal will be out.
Oh yes.
Aditya and Gurdip, tell people how they can order the album and what the best way to get it is.
So to get the album, it's a very simple process. You need to just go to gutslit.com. We ship worldwide. If you are pro Bandcamp, you can go on gutslit.bandcamp.com. There are no there are no underscores or any numbers or anything. It's just Gutslit, Gutslit, Bandcamp and website. You can just go there. You can order. You can pay. You can follow. You can reach out to us if you need any oversized or if you shape if you like need any alterations, a smaller, big vinyls, CDs, whatever you want. It's all there for you all. Just go there and you can just order our stuff.
And do you want to tell me a little bit about the physical releases that you guys are putting out for this album?
So for this album, what we've done is we've kept the CD still available because we want this physically to be there with people. We are doing vinyl releases. The vinyls are already manufactured and ready to ship out. And there's no delay as such on that too. So people who collect vinyls, they should order this and we should keep it in their collections. We have the CDs which are come with a digipack in a digipack with a booklet with lyrics also, and the CD the vinyl also has the lyrics on them. So you will have a kind of a memory also with you, and you can get an in-depth idea of the whole album also.
Very cool. You mentioned gutslit.com, your website. How else can people keep up to date with the band and find out about tour dates and things like that?
We update everything on Bandcamp. We update everything on our website, and we also are very socially active. So if you follow us on Instagram or if you follow us on Facebook, we are connected with bands in town also. So all the data goes out everywhere at the same time, and you can follow the tour dates and the details about what's happening on our social media profiles. So Facebook, Instagram is all very actively controlled by us, and there's almost a post a day that we make sure we do. As far as streaming is concerned, we're there on all the platforms. So you can be on Apple, you can be on Spotify, you can be on YouTube. It's all there. The album is ready to go and it will be out on the 7th of July.
Very cool. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
I would like to thank you for taking the time out and doing this interview with us. And I would like to thank everyone who always been supported the band and made us what we are. And having toured Asia also, it's a great feeling that we have someone from Malaysia doing this with us. Even though Malaysia was supposed to be on the route, I remember planning 10 different routes just to make Asia happen. Difficult, I think, to manage that time. So yeah, looking forward to being in Malaysia someday and playing a show for you guys.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Adi, final thoughts?
Same here, man. It was lovely talking to you, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you've enjoyed the album till now. I hope all your fans also and the people of Malaysia enjoy this album. This just helps us become a bit more bigger. Thank you so much, guys.
Very cool. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you so
Thanks so much. Have a great evening.